What's going on, my babies? Welcome back to another episode of The Spiritual Word. As always, I apologize for any noises in the background in advance and anything of that nature. And before I start these, I like to start these off with a disclaimer by stating that these are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research to come to your own conclusions, to have your answers, to make your own decisions. And I believe in your ability to do so, to be your own person. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to be on your highest timeline and how to know what that means. And so I'm just gonna break that down just a little bit for you before I get into how to actually do that. So being on your highest timeline just means that you're in alignment with your soul's purpose. You're in alignment with all the things that you want to see in your life, all the things that you're going to or that you're trying to manifest, like all the things that are meant for you. And so with that being said, just to make it really, really, really basic, because I don't want today's episode to be super duper long. I want it to be like very, 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 very short. So being on your highest timeline is just basically you getting all the things that you want that you didn't even know you wanted, because it's in alignment with what your soul wants. And you could even call that being in alignment with soul's purpose or anything like that, anything of that nature. So that's what that is. And now how to do that. Being on your highest timeline, you have to be in tune with yourself. And being in tune with yourself requires a lot of, I wouldn't say grounding, because I don't think that it's grounding that will do that for you per se, but it's just knowing yourself to a T. And the way that you know yourself to a T is by sitting down and contemplating just things about yourself, contemplating the way you move, the way you talk, the way you breathe, the way you act, the things that you think, the thoughts that you have on a day-to-day basis, how positive you are, how negative you are, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, hygiene, mental hygiene, all this other stuff. Like a lot goes into knowing yourself. And once you get into like a good standing, you don't have to know everything about yourself, because everything about yourself is going to change with time. And so I would say learn the very basic fundamentals, like how do you move, how do you breathe, how do you talk, what do you think about? Are you normally a positive or negative person? And contemplate those ideas and contemplate who you are. Go into meditation and contemplate who you are. And for all the things that you ever want to manifest for you with ease, being on this highest timeline is going to make that happen, because you're not going to be concerned with all of the things that you need to be concerned about, quotation marks, the things you need to be concerned about, because life is going to happen regardless of whether you're worried or not. So just like the book that we read, a couple weeks ago, Start Where You Are, you're trying to get footing where there's no footing, and that is life. So don't worry about all the things that you're currently worrying about, because life is going to go on. And because life is going to go on, you should be just trying to put your feet down where there's no footing. And something that I like to remember from my personal encounters with the ultimate, is what I want to say, or like nothingness, is that you're literally on nothing. You are walking on nothing. So the ground that you walk underneath your feet, the ground underneath your feet is an illusion. And just like, I feel like that's why a lot of people worry, because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall. Because all of these things, they're not really working the way that other people say it works for them. And that's part of the process. You have to recognize that you're never gonna have stable footing. You're not gonna be stable. So be okay with all those worries, all those doubts, all those demons of yours, because the more acquainted you get with those things, the more you know yourself. And the better you know yourself, and the better you know those things about you that you necessarily, quotation marks, don't like. And the better you get with all of those things, like all together, and mix them up in a big melting pot. They're already mixed, but once you get acquainted with what's in your mixing pot, you're able to actually maneuver through life in a way that's very beneficial towards you. That is being on your highest timeline. Because there's always going to be days where you don't feel good. That's just natural. That's just what happens. Life happens. Life is going to continue to happen. And it's a part of the process. Just enjoy the process. And living on your highest timeline is literally you just enjoying all of the moments because you know that they're passing. And enjoying all the moments because although you could be worried about what you're going to eat, where you're going to wear, whatever the case is for you, it's not that deep. And you just need a little reminder that it's not that deep. So I'm in this here. How to be on your highest timeline is to know yourself, get to know those internal things that you don't like about yourself, and just chill with those things and enjoy those things and enjoy the process of getting to know yourself, even though the process is a very hard thing to do, especially if you think very negatively, especially if your feelings are constantly negative feelings. But once you get acquainted with those, you can say, well, you know what, this thing is not so bad. This thing, I shouldn't even be worried about this thing because really, in 5 years, am I really going to be stressing about the same things? Probably not. So, with that being said, before I end this, I want to say that these are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research to come to your own conclusions, to have your own answers, to make your own decisions. And I believe in your ability to do so and to be your own person. And I also apologize for any noises in the background that you might have heard throughout this episode. The wind is going crazy outside and my fan is on, so, I hope that wasn't too disturbing for the background. But anyways, yeah, I don't think that I stated those in the beginning, so I figured I'd state them at the end. And anyways, thanks for tuning in and tapping in, my babies, and I will see you in next week. Peace.